Number 13, Whipped Cream of Death. 33-year-old Rebecca Berger was a French fitness blogger with over 200,000 followers on social media. Berger died from a heart attack, but her death wasn't natural by any means. A whipped cream dispenser exploded and hit her chest, causing a heart attack. After she died, her family posted a picture of the cream siphon and told everyone not to use it. A French consumer magazine called 6 Millions de Consommateurs has been warning their readers for years not to use these cream dispensers. The plastic cap of the devices are too fragile, so they can't bear much pressure, so it ends up exploding and is able to cause serious damage to anyone around. The company that made the cream dispenser made a statement on social media about the situation. They apologized for the tragedy, but they also said they'd withdrawn all the siphons for sale and told customers that already had them not to use the product. A spokesperson even said, quote, "We couldn't do it anymore." This wasn't the first time something like this had happened. Another person was struck by the same device but on their ribs and ended up breaking 6 of them. Doctors said they would have been dead if it had hit their chest. Number 12, a bland meal. On April 8th, a chef named Mao Sugiyama got a lot of attention after a certain tweet he made. He was offering people to eat his genitals for 100,000 yen, which is over $800 American dollars. And, surprisingly, 5 people actually volunteered to eat them. Mao considers himself to be asexual, which usually means a person that isn't sexually attracted to anyone, but he uses the word to show how he doesn't feel like he's male or female. A few days after Mao's 22nd birthday, he underwent elective genital removal surgery, and after removing his genitals, he prepared them for dinner. He seasoned his testicles, fried them up, and served them alongside mushrooms and some Italian parsley. On April 13th, the volunteers sat down to eat. Apparently, dozens of people attended the event just to get a glimpse at this bizarre meal. There were also other strange dishes like crocodiles, but this was the showstopper. He even considered eating the meal himself, but decided against it at the last second. The guests said the meat tasted pretty rubbery and bland. Before eating the genitals, the guests had to sign a waiver saying Mao wouldn't be responsible if any of them got sick afterward. Number 11, snake got your tongue? Getting bit by a snake is pretty common and usually happens when the victim isn't trying to eat the snake. In South China, a restaurant's head chef decided to make soup, which is regularly eaten in the country. The chef cut the cobra's head off and set the body aside. But when the chef went to throw the cobra's head in the trash, it managed to bite his finger despite being dead. A guest at the restaurant, 44-year-old Lin's son, said he was just having dinner for his wife's birthday when they started hearing screams from the kitchen. They called an ambulance, but by the time the medics arrived, it was too late. The venom of a cobra can kill or paralyze a person in just 30 minutes. Experts say snakes and other reptiles can move for over an hour after being killed, which is why you should be careful when making such a dish. Would you still try this soup? Let us know in the comments down below, and leave a like and be sure to subscribe if you liked the video so far. Now, back to the kitchen. Number 10, the unexpected. On May 26, 2020, a very well-known Thai internet celebrity named P. Peng was making one of her regular videos for her subscribers when something horrible happened. The live broadcast started off perfectly fine, with Peng smiling and interacting with fans. But midway through her cooking, her face suddenly turned pale and she fell forward, slamming her face against a pot. Immediately after the fall, you could hear her husband in the background shouting her name and dragging her body out of the video's frame. A little while later, the broadcast was cut off. For a while, many of Peng's fans were confused and worried, with no information about her well-being released. But Peng's sister revealed she was sent to the hospital and had died. Apparently, the cause of death was a sudden heart attack from heart disease. No one understood how she just died from a heart attack out of nowhere, especially since Peng was healthy and never had any diseases. Some suspect it could have been caused by hot weather that day. Number 9, huge soup pot. In Iran, it's normal for guests to have soup as the first meal in a wedding, which is why chefs make a huge vat of soup to feed hundreds of guests. One chef was cooking soup at the Hazel Hall in the Zakho district, which is considered one of the biggest wedding destinations in all of Iraq. There are probably around 300 to 600 guests in the wedding hall. While preparing the food, the chef fell straight into the vat of soup and suffered third-degree burns over 70% of his body. He was later taken to the hospital but died 5 days after the incident. Apparently, the chef, 25-year-old Issa Ismail, was the father of 2 daughters and a 6-month-old son. His family was poor and he was just trying to make ends meet. According to his loved ones, he would only make around $17 daily for cooking that much food. Number 8, a deathly aroma. Almost everyone hates the smell of fish, but we usually just deal with it until it goes away. Not many people have literally died from the smell, but that's exactly what happened to 11-year-old Cameron Jean-Pierre. The boy suffered an asthma attack after he inhaled the aroma of a fish dish he was allergic to at his grandmother's house in New York City. Once his family realized Cameron was not actually okay, they called an ambulance, and he was rushed to the hospital. Once he arrived at the Brookdale Hospital Medical Center in Brooklyn, Cameron was soon pronounced dead. At all times, he always carried a nebulizer machine, but it wasn't working properly when the incident took place. The worst part is, the boy's last words were, "Daddy, I love you. I feel like I'm dying." Number 7. No cooking on the train. When traveling on trains, some poor passengers in Pakistan take their gas stoves inside to make food for themselves while on the train despite laws against it. But this obviously is not the smartest idea and caused the death of 74 people in October of 2019. 3 carriages caught on fire, which caused an explosion. Thankfully, the train's emergency braking system stopped the vehicle within 3 minutes. Most of the survivors talk about the horrible thing that happened. The train driver even said, quote, "This is the worst tragedy in my life." A couple and their children reported they could hear people screaming and begging for help from the car next to them. Many people even jumped out of the locomotive, and most of them died on impact. Apparently, even people from nearby villages came over with buckets of water and tried to help, but it was all hopeless. Number 6. Judgy in-laws. In-laws are probably the worst parts of getting married, since they're usually super judgmental no matter what you do. But most people just deal with them, not kill them. A 28-year-old woman from New Delhi was constantly criticized by her in-laws for her bad cooking abilities and darker skin. One day, she got fed up with all the ridiculing and decided to get rid of them for good. The housewife, Pragya Survas, poisoned her in-laws' food with insecticide and served it to them at a housewarming party on June 18, 2018. The poison caused the death of 5 people and the hospitalization of nearly 120 others. She even poisoned innocent people and children. She later broke down crying while the police questioned her and confessed to the crimes. Survas was charged with murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to murder under the Indian Penal Code. She faces a maximum sentence of the death penalty. Sometimes, people are pushed too far. Number 5. Thanksgiving dinner. Back in 1991, a very successful 23-year-old Egyptian model, Omaima Nelson, married a 56-year-old man named Bill Nelson. Many thought Omaima married the older man for his money, but she insisted she loved him. During the first half of their marriage, everything went well, but things started getting out of hand a few months later. Bill started sexually abusing Omaima and physically assaulted her a number of times. It was only around Thanksgiving when Omaima knew she had enough and decided she was going to get revenge. The first thing she did was murder Bill using scissors, and then she beat him up with a hot iron. Not long after, Bill passed away, but Omaima wasn't done with him just yet. She started dismembering his body piece by piece until there was nothing left. After this, she boiled and fried his body parts and laid them out on a table. She also put his head in the middle of the table just like a turkey centerpiece. While it hasn't been confirmed, most believe she ate some of her husband. Obviously, after this, she came back to her senses and began to panic. She went to one of her ex-boyfriend's houses. She told him everything, but lied and said she killed him while defending herself. After that, she told her ex, Jose Esquivel, to get rid of the body and even offered him $70,000. But Jose was smarter and told Omaima he would take care of everything, but called the police instead. Omaima was charged and arrested for the murder of Bill Nelson and was sentenced to 28 years in prison. Number 4. Fire. A 3-year-old girl from Sheffield, England passed away after her nativity costume caught on fire. Sophia Firth was supposed to be an angel in her nursery's nativity play the next week. It was believed she leaned over a gas fire and her dress was engulfed in flames. Her mother, 28-year-old Amy Harhoff, tried her best to put the fire out using a blanket, but she was already badly injured. Sophie suffered horrible 3rd-degree burns and was rushed to the hospital. The doctors worked extremely hard to save the girl from the burns, but she passed away just 9 days after the accident. Sophie was an actor before she passed. She appeared in Emmerdale as Angelica back in 2009. The spokesperson of the program actually sent their condolences to Sophie's family. Number 3. Milk allergy. Usually kosher restaurants serve either dairy products or meat products, but never both. Knowing this, 23-year-old Osher Dairy decided to order a dessert with whipped cream despite having a milk allergy. She just assumed it was dairy-free since the restaurant was supposed to be kosher. But the 19-year-old chef realized they were out of their usual whipped cream and told a worker to quickly get some. The worker accidentally bought a product containing dairy. An allergic reaction happened right after Derry ate the dessert. She was rushed to the hospital as soon as she felt sick, only to be declared dead when she arrived. Apparently, the victim's mother used to work at the restaurant and believed they wouldn't use any dairy products. She also didn't have her EpiPen with her at the time, so there was really nothing that could have been done to prevent the tragic accident. Right before eating the dessert, Derry posted a picture of the dish on her social media account. Number 2. The Michelin Star. A 46-year-old Spanish woman died after eating at a Michelin star restaurant called Riff in Valencia. After an investigation, it was revealed 18 guests also felt sick after their meal there, but all recovered soon after. 9 out of the 18 said they vomited, had diarrhea, and even felt nauseous. After the woman and her family ate, they all felt horribly sick and even showed food poisoning symptoms. While her son and husband got better, the woman's symptoms only got worse until she died. When health officials inspected the restaurant, they couldn't find anything that might have caused the illness. But they do think the sickness could be from morel mushrooms. The restaurant temporarily closed, but continued working after the case was dismissed. Number 1. Mixer and long hair. It's pretty normal for parents and grandparents to bake food with their children, and it can be a fun activity for everyone, but rarely do things go this wrong. A mother of a 5-year-old girl spoke about a horrific accident. While baking with her grandmother, the girl's hair got stuck in the mixer and was ripped off her skull. Things happened so quickly the 5-year-old's grandma had no time to process what was going on. Thankfully, the grandma turned the mixer off before things could get any worse. Not before a huge chunk of her hair was missing, though. The child was obviously distraught and shocked over everything that happened in such a short time frame. But overall, she was fine. The only thing she seemed worried about was going to school, since she didn't want kids to make fun of her. So her mom decided to call Lindsay Bonehair, who specializes in hair loss treatments. After hearing what happened to the girl, she got into the salon right away. The hairstylist fixed her up and made it look like she was never bald in the first place. Thanks for watching. Which one of these stories did you find the craziest? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit subscribe for more. See you next time on The Bad Badger.